Okay, this next video, after we did translations last time, we are going to look at how to reflect points and shapes. And we are going to be reflecting across the x-axis, and we're going to be reflecting across the y-axis. So for instance, this first slide, we are going to be reflecting across the y-axis. So anytime we are going to reflect, it will always tell us what we're reflecting across. So the first thing you should always do is highlight what you're reflecting across. So if you're reflecting in the y-axis, we're going to highlight and make our y-axis so we know that's where we're reflecting across. So if I have the ordered pair -5, 3, okay, and that's point A. If I'm going to reflect across the y-axis, that means if I am 5 units to the left of the y-axis right now, I am going to be exactly across from it 5 units to the right. So I'm going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the right after I have reflected across the y-axis. So my ordered pair, after I reflect across the y-axis, I was at -5, 3, now I'm at +5, 3. Notice the only thing that changed was the sign of my x value. If I start at -4, -3, for point B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, here's my point B. I am reflecting across the y-axis, so right now I am 4 units to the left. I need to be 4 units to the right. And when my point is reflected across the y-axis, it started at -4, -3. My new point is +4, -3. So the order didn't change. The only thing that changed was the positive negative of my x value. Point C, -1, -5. There's point C. It's currently 1 unit to the left. I'm going to be 1 unit to the right. And my ordered pair is going to be +1, -5. Okay, this time it looks a lot like what we just did, but this time we are going to reflect in the x-axis. Okay, so if it tells us what we're reflecting across, the first thing that we are going to do is highlight our x-axis. So let's go ahead and highlight that so we know exactly where we're going to be. Okay, and let's see what that's going to look like. If I have the point A is at -1, +1, that would be right there. If I am reflecting across the x-axis, that means I'm currently 1 unit above the x-axis. Now I'm going to be 1 unit below the x-axis. So my A prime is now at -1, -1. If you notice, the only thing that changed is the value of my y. It went from positive to negative. So if point B is at 4, 6, here's point B up here at 4, 6. It currently is 6 units above the x-axis. I need to make it 6 units below the x-axis, which is going to be here. And my ordered pair, the only thing that's going to be different is my y value is going to be the opposite, so it's going to be 4, -6. And the last one, 5, 1. If I start at 5, 1, there's my point C. I am currently 1 unit above, reflecting across the x-axis. I'm going to be 1 unit below, so I'd be at 5, -1 instead of +1. Okay, so we are going to practice doing this a couple times here. This is in the x-axis, but okay, so before you ever start, make sure you know what you're reflecting across. So this one is in the x-axis, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my x-axis. Okay, then I'm going to plot my original 3 points, A, B, and C. A is at 1, 2. B is at 3, 5. And C is at 6, 3. Okay, and let's go ahead and connect our dots, and we can make a triangle here. And we are reflecting across that x-axis. So when we are done, right now A is 2 units above the x-axis. A prime is going to be 2 units below the x-axis. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units above. It's going to stay on that same line and just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units below the x-axis. And C is 3 above, so it's going to be 3 below. So when you reflect across the x-axis, it looks like that. And when we're going to write our ordered pairs, A prime, remember, if it started out at 1, positive 2, our A prime is at 1, negative 2. B started at 3, positive 5. Our reflected is going to be at 3, negative 5. And C started at 6, positive 3, so reflected in the x-axis is going to be 6, negative 3. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, except this time we are going to reflect in the y-axis. Again, make sure you're reading the directions and doing the correct axis that you're reflecting over. So let's highlight our, let's highlight our y-axis here. The y-axis goes up and down like that, and plot those same 3 points, A, B, and C. A is 1, 2, B is at 3, 5, and C is at 6, 3. And we've got our triangle here. This time we're reflecting in the y-axis, so we're going to go left to right here. And if point A is currently 1 unit to the right, A prime is going to be 1 unit to the left. If B is 3 units to the right, B prime is going to be 3 units to the left. If C is 6 units to the right, C prime is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units to the left. And if we connect our dots, we've got our reflected triangle across the y-axis. And the other thing that you might want to make note of is there's not an example like that on this page, but if you're reflecting across the y-axis and say your point was on the y-axis, so say you had to reflect that blue point across the y-axis, it can't move across the y-axis, so it wouldn't actually change, so it would actually stay the same. So if you come across anywhere you have to reflect in an axis and it's actually on the axis, it doesn't actually move. And if we wanted to write down our ordered pairs, okay, so if A was originally at 1, 2, that means A prime is going to be at negative 1, 2. B prime, if it was at positive 3, 5, is going to be at negative 3, 5. And C was at 6, 3. C prime is going to be at negative 6, 3. Okay, so I want you to pause the video for just a moment and do these two. Remember to pay attention. The first one is in the x-axis. The second one is in the y-axis. And I want you to plot the points A, B, and C and the reflected points, and then write down right here what your reflected points are going to be. So take a couple minutes and get those complete. Okay, so once you have these complete, please check with what I have to make sure that you agree. And when you are finished, there is a worksheet that has practice with reflecting in the X and the Y axes. So we're going to have a little bit of practice with that. Don't worry about completing the rest of the packet. I think these examples that we've done together are sufficient. So if you have any other questions or if you want to finish the rest of the packet, please feel free, and I'd be more than happy to help you.